Good afternoon, everyone. I am coming to you on location from Ottawa, so this is fun for me. I don't know how well the upload is going to work, so I'm going to try it out and we'll do our best. Here we go. First, this dropped this morning. Bibeau unveils $1.75 billion in compensation for dairy farmers harmed by trade deals. The Liberal government is delivering $1.75 billion in compensation for dairy producers negatively impacted by the Canada-European Union Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, and the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. I mean, are they just shoehorning these words in because they sound nice? Progressive and comprehensive. Yeah, no, it's not just the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's got to be the Comprehensive and Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership. Really? Anyway, back to the article. The funding will roll out over 8 years for nearly 11,000 farmers to compensate them for losses. About $345 million of that total will be paid out in the first year in direct payments according to their production quota. A news release said a farm owner with 80 dairy cows will be awarded compensation of $28,000 in the first year. Agricultural Minister Marie-Claude Bibeau, is making the announcement at a farm in Compton, Quebec, today beginning at 10:30 a.m. Okay, so this was live when I saw it. And, well, I wanted to point out $1.75 billion is about half, just under half, what it would cost to unwind the whole system. Maybe a little, well, a third. Let's call it a third, just to be very, very generous. And that seems like good money after bad. Let's spend the rest, unwind this system, and make it a free market and allow people to export their milk, their product, their excellent Canadian product into markets like the United States. Donald Trump has been asking for a free trade agreement for a long time, talking specifically about milk. But here's the facts. This is the People Party's website, and this is the platform on supply management and making dairy, poultry, and eggs more affordable. Here's the highlighted part. It says the market value of quotas was estimated at $35 billion in 2016, but that's not what it would cost the government to buy them back if it decided to abolish the system. The accounting value of quotas after depreciation would form the basis for compensation. Farmers who bought them recently would be reimbursed close to the market value, while those who bought them at lower prices years ago would get less, and those who got them for free would get nothing. The Conference Board of Canada estimates such a buyout would cost between $3.6 billion and $4.7 billion in total. Now, I'm not saying that farmers should get nothing. I'm saying that why spend all of this money and not meaningfully modernize and reform a broken system, a system where a small group of people get to set the prices. It should be market value. That's just what I believe. So, and the PPC believes that too. So wonderful. We can vote on it. Here is Jody Wilson-Raybould, and this is all news from a couple of days ago. As I said, there's so much news. It's like a fire hose, right? So, and I covered Jody Wilson-Raybould. I said, there's more to this story. There's more to this story. There's more to this story. And I think this one finally is done. She gets to be right, essentially. So here's her tweet, and she says, attached is my statement on the Conflict of Interest and Ethics Commission's Trudeau 2 report released earlier today. And it's a Facebook link, which bothered me. I almost wasn't going to read what she said because I couldn't find it, but thankfully the National Post printed it. So yay, thanks National Post. And so they say, quote, read Jody Wilson-Raybould's full statement on the ethics ruling on the SNC-Lavalin affair. And so at the beginning it says, it gives a little bit of prep work, and it says below is the full text of her statement. I think it's important to have this to peruse and to read, and so that's why I read them like I do, because I think it's important, and an informed electorate is the best we can hope for, right? I think. Okay, here we go. This is Jody Wilson-Raybould. Quote, I welcome the Conflict of Interest and Ethics Commissioner's Trudeau 2 report issued today. I'm grateful for Commissioner Mario Dion's thorough report. It represents a vindication of the independent role of the Attorney General and of the Director of Public Prosecutions in criminal prosecutions, and reinforces for Canadians how essential it is to our democracy to uphold the rule of law and prosecutorial independence. The report confirms critical facts consistent with what I shared with all Canadians and affirms the position I have taken from the outset. The Commissioner was not distracted by inaccurate information about the events or about me personally, and drew conclusions based on the true facts of what occurred. I also have feelings of sadness. In a country as great as Canada, essential values and principles that are the foundation of our freedoms and systems of government should be actively upheld by all, especially those in positions of public trust. We should not struggle to do this, and we should not struggle to acknowledge when we have acted in ways that do not meet these standards. I am also concerned by the government's decision to deny even its ethics commissioner requested access to cabinet confidences, as there were apparently constraints on a number of witnesses from telling the whole story. The commissioner is correct in saying that decisions affecting his work should be made transparently and democratically, not by the very same public office holders who are subject to the regime he administers. I skipped down just a little bit. The commissioner's important findings of facts include: point. There were multiple attempts to improperly influence my, Jody Wilson-Raybould's, decision as Attorney General whether to intervene in a criminal prosecution. These attempts persisted despite Jody Wilson-Raybould's direct advice to the Prime Minister. That warning was discounted and ignored. The Commissioner found all those tactics troubling, and these supported his conclusions that the Prime Minister had violated the Conflict of Interest Act. The Commissioner stated that the authority of the Prime Minister and his office was used to circumvent, undermine, and ultimately attempt to discredit the decision of the DPP as well as Jody Wilson-Raybould's authority as Chief Law Enforcement Officer. Senior staff in the Prime Minister's office pressed Jody Wilson-Raybould on the idea of seeking external advice on the matter, all while knowing the advice that would be given and selectively withholding other material information from Jody Wilson-Raybould, and this constituted a third attempt to bend the will of the Attorney General. The most flagrant attempt to influence Jody Wilson-Raybould occurred during her conversation with the clerk of the Privy Council. The commissioner reflected that it was difficult to imagine that the clerk acted without full and clear appreciation of the Prime Minister's position on the matter. The repeated interventions to have Jody Wilson-Raybould find a solution were tantamount to political direction. It was improper to raise partisan political interests with Jody Wilson-Raybould in the context of her role in evaluating this prosecutorial decision. This was done on at least 4 separate occasions. It was clearly improper for one branch of government to be communicating with applicants to a judicial review challenging a decision made by another branch of government without knowledge or involvement of the Attorney General or her representatives. Contrary to a narrative that has been advanced by others, there is no evidence that Jody Wilson-Raybould failed to consider the public interest in making her decision not to intervene. Indeed, the Commissioner confirms the steps she took, including consultations with several former attorneys general to obtain guidance and advice. And so I'm going to stop this video here, and I'm going to do another video right after. But I think that this is important. This is Jody Wilson-Raybould having the ethics commissioner back up what she said, back up that she wasn't wrong. And so she wasn't wrong, and she was ejected for not kowtowing to Trudeau. She was ejected from Liberal caucus, after being shuffled out of the position as Attorney General into Veterans Affairs, and then resigning that cabinet position when Trudeau said, she's still in cabinet, so can't be a big deal. And then she resigned, and then she was kicked out of caucus for not listening to Trudeau, and Trudeau's wrong, provably wrong. And, well, you'll see in my next video just how wrong he is. But isn't that interesting? And no calls from the Liberal backbench. I don't hear them anyway. I haven't seen any tweets asking for reinstatement of these 2 ladies to be Liberals. Were they not correct? Has this decision not proven them correct and Trudeau incorrect? I just think that it's interesting, the silence. It's deafening. It's deafening. Just like Andrew Scheer's silence on the number of immigrants coming into the country. Why no number, Andrew? Why no number? I think they're going to run a silent campaign this year. But I digress. This video is not about the Conservatives. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out the People's Party of Canada.ca and have a wonderful, wonderful day.